Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Good evening. This is G3 Podcast with a special stream. Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat. Hello to our viewers. If you're just tuning in, again, this is BJG, your host for this evening, along with, of course, everybody's favorite Captain Mike, right here. And, yan. And, of course, Chino Noch is in the building. Papasok na yata si Kagawad Ravenize, mga kapatid. Let's just wait for Captain Mike's cue. Magandang gabi po mga kaibigan. Kami po ay nagbabalik sa inyo for a special stream talking about a very interesting thing, and we want to be able to tackle this as it is very relevant for all content creators such as you and I. You, Captain Mike, Noch, and I, and of course Kagawad Ravenize will be talking to somebody who will be able to help shed light into this matter. And this is, of course, none other than the BIR ruling of the taxation for content creators, vloggers, streamers, those people who do their work as a form of their passion and they make a living out of it. Medyo it's a very not really controversial, but it's a very loud kind of news nowadays because this has affected a lot. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, meron na pong yun nga po, ang papasok po sa ating guest ngayon. Tawag dito, papasok po sa atin ngayon is definitely somebody who is going to set things straight, set things up for record. Papasukin ko na ba? Kap, papasukin ko na. Pwede na ba?
Si Kagawad Ravenize ba yan? Huwag mo na papasukin kung si Ravenize yan.
Papapasukin ko na.
Oh, sige, let him in.
Mga kaibigan, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, ang taong susuheto po sa BIR at nagbanggit nito last susuheto. Ito na po, si Kagawad Ravenize.
Sabi ko sa inyo, huwag niyo papasukin eh.
Ay, sorry. Wala.
Ako yung special guest dito. Ako yung special guest talaga dito.
Nag-live stream pa tayo si Almond din naman. Si Almond lang pala yung special guest natin. Huwag na.
Okay, wag mo nilalang lang yan.
Tapusin na natin yung live stream.
Nyo? Ano akala? Mabilis na usapan. Content creator ka, tax ka.
Okay, done. Tapos.
Okay, tapos mga kaibigan.
Tapos.
Dito na po nagtatapos ang special stream namin. Magandang gabi.
Hello guys.
Hayop. Nagpa-poster pa po kami. Nag-announce pa kami, tapos pagpasok, yun lang yun. Nahuli mo na ba yung
pala, nilakihan ko pala yung boses ko, no?
O dapat nilagyan mo na.
Nilakihan ko pa yung boses ko para mas nakakatakot.
Ang tanong, nahuli mo na ba yung bullhorn? Yan ang tanong ko sa iyo, brother. Yung problema eh.
Moose yun, moose.
Oo nga, nahuli mo na nga.
Hindi pa.
Yan. Habang Notch is transitioning into the world of Matrix, care of Captain Mike. Kamusta po mga kapatid? Hello to our 8,000 viewers. And we are definitely going
Hindi rinig si Mike kanina.
Oo. Something went wrong with the audio. I had to fix it. Pero ngayon it's fixed na.
Yan. Well, it's welcome back to streaming, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, this is what streaming is all about. And on top of that, we're gonna have to know what taxes mean. Tataksan pa itong ganitong mga paghihirapan. And if you guys are watching, itag nyo yung mga kakilala nyo na mga content creators, big or small. I think this is a very good opportunity for them to listen and ask questions. Kasi nga, nandito si Ravenize, siya po ang sasagot ng mga tanong nyo. Otherwise, hahanapin na naman niya yung moose. Na mga ilang linggo ko na siya pinanonood, puro moose ang hinahanap. Iba yung nakikita. Kanina, grizzly bear, nag-aaway yung wolf. Pero walang moose.
What the hell?
Pero ang galing yun nung nag-aaway.
Ang tindi nun nagtatakbo siya, hanap, kakatapos mo lang yata ng main quest. Tapos, hindi, pupunta ka ng main quest. Tapos nagulat siya, uy, putang, what the fuck? Kaya yung grizzly bear, tsaka dalawang wolf nag-aaway. Yun yung inatupag niya. At the end of the day, wala po siya nakuwang moose. So, ang gagawin niya, sasagutin na lang ng NBI. Galing. Mga klase. Pero hello, again, tag your content creator friends. Tag everybody who wants to be content creators in the future. Kung merong vlog, may maliit na vlog, this is a good opportunity for everyone. We're doing this for everybody, so that we can have answers. No, this is going to be a session for an hour or so for this live Q&A, and we will be hopefully giving everybody the chance to understand ano ba talaga, ano ba ang nasa likod ng BI, ano bang kailangan gawin bilang content creator, anong ibig sabihin nito as a content creator, and anong mangyayari in the future, how are we going to create content um, in the future, when this thing starts to kick in. And I think it already has, right? I think it already has kicked in. A lot of content creators are already working on it. So before we get into the discussion, let me ask you guys muna, ano bang initial na reaction ni dito? I want to start off with Noch. Initial reaction when you found out that this is going to be a thing for content creators.
Well, definitely kasi yung tatamaan talaga diyan isn't really the small ones. Kasi yung mga small ones, lalo na yung mga walang kinikita, di ba? Wala silang effect dyan. Those who are heavily affected by it will definitely be the ones who are big enough to earn 250K a year, di ba? Who are these people? Definitely Kong TV is number one there. He's I think number one Pinoy blogger in the country right now. Syempre, andyan sila Alodia, sila Will Dasovich, all these big names, these big vloggers, kahit yung ano yan? Jamil? Crazy ass motherfuckers. yung dalawang yon, despite them saying na sarado na yung YouTube nila, binibenta na nila bahay nila and the cars and whatever, kung ano pa binibenta nila, it's probably because they're trying to escape the tax, di ba? Pero I think for streamers like us, yes, I can still consider myself a streamer. For streamers like us, probably hindi tayo masyado maapektuhan, no? Probably hindi tayo maapektuhan kasi again, yung streaming community here is not as big as the ones they have outside of the country, no? Lalo na sa US, definitely mas malaki yung streaming community diyan. Dito, bilang lang sa kamay kung sino pwede mo ilagay diyan. As a streaming a live streamer, I'm not sure nga, let's say kung si Ghost Record, di ko sure kung kasama siya doon. Alodia definitely kasama doon kasi aside from the streaming. Yeah. So it's
no exception.
Oh nga, I mean ang exception to the rule kasi dyan is you have to earn 250K annual. To be
there's
taxed.
that.
To be
Wow.
taxed. Oo, to be taxed.
Okay, I see.
So definitely tatamaan lahat ng malaki. Small time streamers like us na wala masyadong kinikita or or none at all, we won't be affected by it so far. And I'm not saying no to that completely kasi it's possible na in the future baka may tama pa rin sa atin.
I see. Good. I want to now ask Kagawad. No? Kagawad, the law is a little bit different over there where you are, but I know it is definitely a thing. So what are your thoughts on this? How does this reflect itself on content creators there in the US? Tapos, how does it go by then?
Well, it's about time na taxan, like do it the right way, 'di ba?
Agree.
Yun ang ko. Ang maganda diyan is hindi na siya pwedeng tawaging racket. Legit na trabaho na siya, 'di ba? Yun yung maganda doon. And also at the same time, I really have nothing to say about it. Other than it's about time, really. Yun lang talaga.
Actually, may tanong ako kay Almond.
Actually, yeah.
Or none, two questions. First question, Mond, is based ka sa Amerika, di ba? Based ka sa Amerika. So, ibig sabihin, kung malaki yung kinikita mo, you won't be affected by the law passed here sa Pilipinas. Sama ba ako?
No. I think so.
Hindi,
That's yun yung itatanong natin sa natin, di ba?
Actually, yung second question ko is, yung content creators ba dyan sa States, do they already have taxes? And
yes.
I mean, aside from your personal taxes, diba? Kasi I'm sure just sa States, iba yung taxation natin eh. Pero for being a content creators like yourself, meron na bang taxes yan at gaano siya kalaki? Is it as big as
Yeah, kasi isa yun sa requirement pag nag-sign up ka, 'di ba, sa level up creator, 'di ba? Hanapan ka ng tax form, 'di ba? So pagkatapos ng buong taon, may kinita ka, you have to declare it.
Okay.
Any source of income talaga dapat i-declare mo.
Interesting.
Kahit online selling, online shops,
Online.
mga ganon.
Well, yan hindi ko alam to be honest
Kasi
with
dito
you.
meron
Pero
eh.
I think any source of income kailangan i-declare yan. Kasi I think before you sign up sa mga let's say Amazon, eBay, or if you wanna be a seller, kailangan i-declare mo yan eh. Kasi babalik din sa iyo yung pera na yun.
Right.
So why not?
And again, we've nothing against taxation. We have nothing against how things need to be reported as a source of income. Ito si Captain Mike, you're already doing some organized events, right? May taxes involved ba yan for you?
Hindi, wala naman kasi maliit lang maliit lang kasi yung pamimigay eh. Again, for tournaments medyo maliit lang siya. Not really much amount involved. Pero naman, kung ako tatanungin, it's obviously pag malaki na, pag big time na, syempre you should be taxed. And I would agree with the boys, with the gentlemen pala.
I see. All right. Well, then again, I'm sure you guys are seeing something funky happening on the live stream right now. Medyo dumodoble-doble tayo, but that's fine. Because it's right about time that we get a resource person to join us. And a resource person that we have invited over is a taxation expert. He's a lawyer. Kala niyo wala kaming guest. Ay, guest ka, kala niyo si Kagawad lang. Mama, barangay level.
Namin kayo.
Sumbong namin kayo ngayon. Oh.
Lalaglag namin yung mga racket nyo.
hindi. Mga kaibigan, this is actually the right time for you guys to get your streamer friends, those people who are currently streaming, those people who want to get into content creation, mapa-vlogger ba yan, blogger, streamer, anything that creates content online in hopes of making and turning it into a living. This is the time that you get them in, because ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome our guest for this evening for this I'm sure you guys are seeing something funky happening on the live stream right now. Medyo dumodoble-doble tayo, but that's fine. Because it's right about time that we get a resource person to join us. And a resource person that we have invited over is a taxation expert. He's a lawyer. Kala niyo wala kaming guest. Ay, guest ka, kala niyo si Kagawad lang. Mama, barangay level.
Namin kayo.
Sumbong namin kayo ngayon. Oh.
Lalaglag namin yung mga racket nyo.
hindi. Mga kaibigan, this is actually the right time for you guys to get your streamer friends, those people who are currently streaming, those people who want to get into content creation, mapa-vlogger ba yan, blogger, streamer, anything that creates content online in hopes of making and turning it into a living. This is the time that you get them in, because ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome our guest for this evening for this special live stream, none other than, of course, Mr. Attorney Acer Adupa. Welcome, sir. Welcome. He's getting in. Magandang gabi.
Hi, good evening. Yes, BJG, good evening to all of you, Captain Mike, Almond, and People Ignite. So I'm very happy to be here.
Maganda. Thank you. It's really an honor and a pleasure to have you, attorney. I was telling the people who are watching us tonight, this is the time for them to invite their content creator friends. This is the time for them to reach out yung mga pinapanood nilang streamers, mga vloggers, because this is where we're gonna ask you a lot of questions. And the idea is for you to help us understand what is behind the BIR mandate. Ano bang kailangan gawin? Especially nung mga content creators na both small and medium scale, and what's happening to those really big scale content creators like Alodia, Kong, those people who are big names na, and how do they go about their taxes? Maybe you could help out with that first. But before that, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background. I know you came from another webinar today. You had you're a speaker, right? Just tell everybody what you've been doing today.
Well, actually, I'm a CPA lawyer and I'm the managing partner of AAA and Company CPAs. But actually, my background, previously I was with the Bureau of Internal Revenue as revenue officer. So before, I was the one conducting audit. But right now, I'm the one advising clients on how to handle BIR audit. That's why actually this afternoon, I had a webinar. It was sponsored by a group of CPAs in Northern Luzon. It's hosted by PICPA Pangasinan, but most of the participants are from Northern Luzon. So I give tax lecture, and if you haven't seen my YouTube account, I'll invite all of you to watch my YouTube account. And I discuss actually tax updates and some tax nuggets that will be helpful to a lot of people, to the masa and to those professionals.
That's nice, no? Maybe you could tell us about your YouTube channel. What's the YouTube channel called? Then we can put it on. We can put it on the
My
comments below.
YouTube,
They can check it out.
yeah, actually, our YouTube channel is AAA and Company CPAs. So it's the YouTube account of our accounting firm. Our accounting firm provides actually accounting services, tax audit services, and other related services to businesses. We all know naman it's good to have business, but there must be someone who would be giving you advice or supporting you. We will say that it's a back office, but it's one of the important factors to consider in doing business, and that is complying with the government rules.
Nice, nice. Alam mo naman kami dito sa G, mga kaibigan, iba kami dito eh. Legit.
Mhm.
Diba? Legit kami dito.
Yes.
Pero let me introduce to you my team. Attorney, I have of course Almond. He's Kagawad Ravenize. He's part of G. You've met Captain Mike and Chino, which is AKA People Ignite. Which a very igniting conversation this evening. And for those people who are watching live now, please feel free to put in your comments whatever questions or thoughts that you might have for Attorney and of course the BIR. But I understand, Attorney, that you have something to show with us, no? Let me start with a question. What does this mean, this mandate of BIR, that all content creators, whether it's video, written, or audio format, that are already earning money, is this a good thing or a bad thing from a lawyer's perspective? Let me start off with that.
Well, actually, I would say it's a good thing in a sense that whatever taxes that you pay will be used by the government to provide the services that we need. Most especially right now, di ba, we're experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic. The government needs fund to battle COVID-19, and if we'll be able to contribute, even actually mga social media influencers, then it will boost our confidence, most especially to battle COVID-19. Pero kung kulang ang pondo natin, then it would take time before we'll be able to resolve this COVID-19 pandemic. So it's good news. Pero I'd like to tell you, some of you will say it's very very threatening siguro, no? Kung hindi ka aware or if you're not familiar on how to handle those tax obligations. Pero if you have the right information, it will not be a scary idea in terms of paying taxes.
I see. Just checking in with the people that are in
Mandate
right now.
of BIR.
Here in the comments, so just giving a shout out to Ched Sidilio says hello. And there are going to be people that are joining this live stream asking you questions, but maybe we could get started with your presentation,
Okay,
Attorney,
so
and then maybe
my
we can do
screen.
our question and answer portion will come in later. And again, to our listeners, no, to our listeners and to our viewers, tanong po kayo. I'd like you to tag your content creator friends here dito sa live stream natin. Tag nyo yung pangalan, tag nyo para pumunta sila dito para manood sila. Kasi this is very opportune. This is an opportunity for them to learn also what they need to do unless they already know. Para walang opportunity na I'm sorry, I didn't know it. Right? I mean, I Almond will correct me if I'm wrong if I say that, it's not enough to be ignorant of the law. And I guess that's true for everyone, lalo na sa US, right?
Mm-mm. Oh yeah.
Right.
Dapat alamin mo talaga.
Oo. Okay, so I think we have the presentation set up. Cap, is that right? We have the
Yes, that's
presentation
correct.
set up. Excellent. Okay, so Attorney, floor is yours. We'll be listening.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity to share my knowledge and experience about tax. So I'll just share some tidbits about influencers tax. So this is my profile. So this is in relation to the BIR policy issued recently, the Revenue Memorandum Circular 97-2021. It's not a new rule. It's not a new rule, but the intention of this Revenue Memorandum Circular is to clarify the tax obligation of all social media influencers. It only means that this particular rule under the tax code, nandyan na yan even before. Hindi lang actually ma-capture, I'll be honest with you, no? The BIR before was having a hard time capturing all necessary information in terms of taxation. Pero right now, with the advent of technology, the BIR reminds taxpayers to pay their taxes. Otherwise, ito ang consequence. In case of failure to pay their taxes, definitely there will be penalties. And that's what we would like to avoid regarding the failure to comply with the rules. Pero I'll show you lang naman, regarding dun sa social media influencers, I would say I'm very new to this kind of environment, social media influencers. I just launched my YouTube account, no? Pero to those who are already, let's say, veterans, even big time social media influencers, always remember that whatever income that you receive, even if it's abroad, it's from abroad, if you are, let's say, a resident citizen here in the Philippines, we are actually under the jurisdiction of the Philippines. Kaya wala tayong lusot kay BIR. They will definitely look into the income of the taxpayers. Pero you will ask me, attorney, what are those taxes na kailangan ko bayaran? There are two basic taxes, no? One is income tax, and the other one, sinasabi ni BIR, would be business tax. When you say business tax, it could either be percentage tax or value-added tax, no? And you would say, masyadong maraming taxes. Well, when we talk about income tax, take note, if you're a social media influencer, it only means that you are generating income. Pero sasabihin mo, is it a business? Yes, it's a business. Because what you will do is you provide services to entities abroad, like YouTube. You provide the content, and then let's say YouTube will use your content to get advertisements, right? So you will be compensated. And that one, it's like selling services to those companies, and it should be subject to tax. Pero I'd like to emphasize, no, what I even mentioned before sa YouTube account ko, no, yung registration mo should be as self-employed individuals, or let's say you're engaged in business, not as an employee. Kasi iba ang treatment pag employee, no? Pero kung you are doing business on your own, then you are considered self-employed. And okay. This one, I'll be showing you some revenue streams, pero I'll be honest with you, this revenue streams will be considered as new to me, no? Kasi I haven't reached, I'll be honest, I haven't reached the number of social media, subscribers from YouTube, because I just launched it and I don't have that monetization yet. Pero for the others who are social media influencers, these are sources of revenue for YouTube. It could be advertising revenue. It would be, or channel membership. Definitely kayo, Captain Mike, BJG, you're familiar. Almond, you're familiar with this one, channel membership. Merch shelf, of course, may mga items na pwedeng ibenta. Super chat and super stickers. So this one...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Followers pay to get their messages highlighted in chat streams. So, parang may preference yung mga chat nila or stickers. But as I mentioned, this is new to me. Also, YouTube premium revenue. Okay? In terms of the subscription. Also, definitely other sources of revenue aside from YouTube, yung mga sponsored social and blog posts. So, there are some influencers, no, kunwari, iinom ng tubig, yung pala, branded na yung tubig tapos mini-mention na, di ba? We also have display advertising, becoming a brand and representative or ambassador. So these are some sources of revenue. And even affiliate marketing is a good source of income, co-creating product lines, and promoting own products. So these are sources of revenue that may have been utilized or maximized already by social media influencers, which should also be declared for tax purposes. So maraming sources, but what's really important is for you to pay the correct amount of tax. Even photo and video sales, digital courses. That's what I would like to have, no, yung digital courses, kasi most of my participants are actually accountants, and even for business owners who would really want kahit mga tidbits ng tax, no? Kasi it's better for you to, I would say it's better for you to know taxation as a business owner, kasi you cannot just rely with your accountant. You should know what the business is all about. Also, podcasts and webinars are
Attorney, sorry, just to interrupt.
Yes.
Regarding the photography, for example, ang photographer, ang usual na pagbenta niya is to the online libraries, like
Yes.
stock online, for example.
Mhm.
Ibebenta niya yan. So syempre may revenue na natanggap siya doon, no, from them. Will that also be included, pero yung company na binentahan niya is outside of the Philippines?
Okay. If you're a resident citizen, definitely it will be a source of income that you should declare for tax purposes. Kahit ang kliyente mo is a foreigner or based abroad. Like, as I mentioned, yung mga social media influencers, normally sa YouTube, no? YouTube is actually based in the US. So, whatever income, lalo na pag resident citizen ka, the one who has jurisdiction over your income is actually here in the Philippines. Pero actually, there are times, even abroad, sinasubject yan sa tax. Pero mamaya, I'll tell you, na-offset yan under the tax treaty. Pero you mentioned, binibenta mo yung mga photos, you earn income from it, then that's taxable.
I see. I just have a follow-up question on that, attorney. For podcasts and webinars that are not yet getting funding and ad revenue or whatever, but they do get donations, and they do get like super tips, that they call it tips kasi on some platforms. Is that considered a source of income, or does that fall under something else?
Okay. Well, we have to differentiate, no? If let's say it's a gift, no? And we have to consider, when we say gift, it's based on the liberality or generosity of the donor. Siguro natuwa lang sa'yo, binigyan ka, no? That is different if there is a service rendered. If it's a gift, dyan pumapasok yung donor's tax. The tax is imposed on the one giving, okay? If it's based on the liberality, generosity. Pero if it is in exchange for the services rendered, then that one will be considered as income.
I see. That's good. That's a good thing. We're gonna focus on that and talk about that more. But please go ahead, continue. Apologies for the interruption.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's all right. Actually, yan related to sa tinanong mo. So, payments must be received by a social media influencer in consideration for services rendered or to be rendered, no? So there's an exchange. Pero it says here, if a social media influencer receive free products in exchange for the promotion thereof, so parang meron pa rin compensation kasi ipopromote mo yung, let's say, products nila, then you must declare that as income also, but based on the fair market value. But pag halimbawa binigyan ka lang ng isang mong fan, no? Binigyan ka ng isang laptop or isang gadget or any item na natanggap mo, pero it's not in exchange for promoting his business, natanggap mo lang because of his or her generosity, that's not taxable. Okay?
Sana maging fan natin yun, no?
Oo, yun na lang. Maganda. Donate
No?
na lang ang donate.
Sana
Kasi,
ganun din sa inyo, attorney, magbigay ng laptop na lang. Fun kasi.
yes, actually, under the rules, kapag nag-donate ka and it did not exceed 250,000 in a year, no? Yung donation na yan is actually free. So, hindi siya subject sa donor's tax.
Ladies and
Pero pag
gentlemen, we are now
over
opening the floor.
250,
We're opening the floor for up to less than 250,000. Anytime, feel free.
Yeah.
You know where
Each
to find
individual.
us.
All our
Yes.
fans out there, laptops lang,
All 11 of them who are watching right now. Go.
Attorney, may tanong ako sa inyo. What about those, alam niyo yung mga content creators na mga Pilipino pero they become a citizen in another country na nawalan sila ng Filipino citizenship? Are they included sa tax din?
Natatakot kasi si Almond, attorney eh. Mahabol siya eh.
Baka ma-deport.
Okay. Well, actually, that one kasi regarding the income of non-residents, no, the BIR
right.
actually indicated in the RMC na if you are a non-resident and not citizen, let's say a foreigner, no, they said if you have content and it's shown, let's say here in the Philippines, and it generated income, you will still be subject to tax here in the Philippines, no? Pero actually, the burden of proof na nag-generate ka ng income is actually the content provider. So, yun yung pinasa actually ni BIR do sa content provider. Pero I'll tell you, kung halimbawa you're based, let's say in the US, if you receive income, same thing, no? US will definitely tax your income, no?
Right.
Generated from wherever, no? Kasi global sa US. So, if you pay the corresponding tax here, let's say in US, ang mangyayari dyan is if there's also corresponding tax here in the Philippines, pero kasi ngayon may tinatawag tayong tax treaty between Philippines and US na kung para to avoid double taxation, nagbayad ka na nga sa US, magbabayad ka pa dito sa Philippines.
Yes.
They try to offset that one. Okay? So they try to offset. So it only means na you pay what is due, pero you are also protected by tax treaties if both countries have tax treaty. Pero may mga ibang countries kasi walang tax treaty with the Philippines, so nadodoble yung tax na binabayaran nila. Pero rest assured, kung Philippines, US, and other countries such as Singapore, China, Australia, they have tax treaties. So nami-minimize yung tax liabilities nila.
I see. Nice.
Alright?
Ito mo na uuwi, Mon. Diyan ka lang muna.
Clear ba tayo doon? So, don't worry. Kung alam mo naman actually yung mga rules, hindi ka matatakot na baka habulin ka ni BIR. Kasi definitely, it's fair pagdating sa tax rules. It's just that people are not aware. That's why they're being penalized.
Yeah. Niloko lang mo kayo niya ni Chino na takot. Hindi kasi yun yung actually yun yung gusto malaman na since I'm paying the taxes here na tapos magbabayad pa ba ako sa Philippines, since yun nasagot nyo na, like I think that's fair.
Okay. Well, for Philippines naman, like yung income na nare-receive sa YouTube, I would say it's income treated as royalties, no? So pag sinabi nating royalties, it's a passive income pagdating sa US, and they will subject that already to tax. Pero if you are based here in the Philippines, you still have to declare the corresponding income, and then you include that in the computation of income and subject to scheduler or corporate tax rate. And then you will ask me probably ano yung scheduler or corporate tax rates. Kasi pag individual, ang income tax mo is scheduler. the higher the income, the higher tax, no? It ranges from 20% to 35%. Pero pag corporate tax rate, it could be 20 or 25% lang. Okay? And ito yung tinanong kanina ni Alma din, pero ito naman, this applies to resident aliens. Any income derived from Philippine-based contents, okay, shall generally be taxable. Okay? So may mga foreigners din dito sa Philippines na gumagawa ng content, no? They will also be taxable aside from citizens. Okay? And then the burden of proof definitely is the resident alien. Pero aside from the income tax, meron kasi tayong tinatawag na business tax, no? Medyo sasabihin mo masyado maraming tax. That's the reality. Pero itong business tax, you either pay percentage tax or VAT. Okay? But there are certain rules na pwede kang ma-exempt, lalong-lalo na kapag tinawag nating export sale of services yan. The BIR has not yet actually clarified yung exposure regarding business tax, pero there are certain rules kasi. Kapag nag-export ka ng service, that's considered as export sales or zero-rated, wala kang VAT na babayaran. Okay? But we just have to wait for the BIR to clarify this one. Kasi this is more of a general rule, pero there are certain special rules, no? Like this morning, aside from the webinar that I had actually this afternoon regarding how to handle BIR audit, I also had webinar this morning about value-added tax. And ito yung value-added tax, merong export sales, 0%. Okay? And you will ask also, attorney, yung buong amount ba na dinideduct sa, income na receive ko, yun ba yung buong tax na, yun ba yung buong amount na masasubject sa tax, let's say income tax? Well, actually, it's not the entire amount because there are certain expenses that you can claim. I would also, sige, promote ka na rin. You just look at my, to YouTube. These are the allowable deductions. No, may mga expenses. And these allowable deductions, hindi lang naman actually applicable sa mga social media influencers. This also applies to business owners na kung may mga directly related expenses dun sa business mo, pwede mo i-claim. Like right now, kung meron kang mga cameras, smartphones, microphone na ginagamit mo for blogging, for example, you can claim it as deduction. Same as to your computer equipment. Even yung subscription, license fees, no, software licensing fees, internet communication expenses, home office expenses. Like yung pag sinabi nating home office expenses, if you're using a portion of your house, let's say for your studio, let's say you're using 25% of your house as your studio.
Mike, Mike.
So you can claim it as deductible expenses, even the utilities such as water and electricity. Okay? Also, mga office supplies, business expenses, yung travel, yung mga mahilig, mga travel vloggers, no? Pwede nilang i-claim yung mga expenses as deduction. Depreciation expenses, other equipment, or let's say mga capital assets na nadi-depreciate, and bank charges and shipping fees. Ano yung bank charges? Kasi pag nare-receive mo yung income mo from YouTube, deducted na yan yung bank charges, no? Siyempre, hindi papayag si bangko na hindi man-charge. So you can claim it. And also shipping fees. When you talk about shipping fees, kapag ano bang maganda example, yung mga nagmumukbang, diba? There are times nagpapa-deliver lang sila ng pagkain eh, no? Yung delivery fees may be deducted. Even the food na ginamit nila during shooting, no, or during vlogging, they can claim it as deductible expenses. So, huwag ka matakot na buong amount yung masasubject sa tax. You can claim expenses, no? You just have to remember na kailangan documented to. You must have the necessary receipts or invoices to claim these expenses. Otherwise, kasi pag nag-audit si BIR, well, i-disallow niyo yung mga expenses na kinlaim mo pero hindi naman pala substantiated. Pero if your problem is substantiation, there is an option, sabi ni BIR, you may elect optional standard deduction. And what's this optional standard deduction? You have to differentiate muna kung individual ka or corporation. Pag individual, 40% of your gross revenues, straight, i-deduct mo na yon. Kahit walang substantiation. It's like getting 40% of your revenues as expenses, and then yung 60%, yun na yung sasubject sa tax. No? But for corporations, meron ka pang tinatawag na direct cost. So may advantage actually for corporations. Pero the main point here is if you don't want to keep those receipts, then you just have to straightforward deduct 40% of your gross revenues. Yun yung magiging basis ng tax mo. And no substantiation is required for OST.
This is attributable, sorry for the interruption, attorney, but this is attributable to what they would call a tax shield, correct? I mean, this is the same, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, tax shield yan, automatic, no questions asked regarding the optional standard deduction. Pero sa mga allowable deductions, if you want, actually, there are times mas malaki pa yung expenses mo compared sa revenues mo, kaya wala kang babayaran. Kung yung allowable deductions ang i-claim mo, no? So it really depends kasi kung nagsisimula ka pa lang, most likely panay labas lang ng pera yan, loss ka, no? You don't have to pay any tax. Pero kung kasing laki mo na si halimbawa sila BJ, si Almond, si Noch, tsaka si Captain Mike, malalaki ng revenues, kailangan
So attorney, pag mataba ka, ibig sabihin taxable ka rin? Hanggang doon na yung laki ko eh.
Ayun ba? Basically pala na the followers kailangan pang build up. Pero yun, as I mentioned, it really depends. So it's better for you to consult actually let's say an accountant para ma-identify which is beneficial, allowable deduction ba muna or yung optional standard deduction. Kasi these are legal ways of reducing payment of taxes, no? We know there might be illegal ways, pero I would say there are also legal ways of reducing payment of taxes. Okay? So, pwedeng mabawasan actually yung tax na babayaran mo. Pero, in terms of you as social media influencer, kung social media influencer ka, remember that there are additional obligations that you have to comply. Kasi, business owner ka eh, no? So you have to register with the BIR kasi gusto ni BIR ma-increase yung tax base eh, no? Yung mga registered businesses. Okay? So kailangan ka mag-register. You have to keep also books of accounts. It may be foreign to you kung hindi ka halimbawa accountant. That's why you have to avail the services of an accountant. Pero aside from keeping those books, you have to file those tax returns and pay the corresponding taxes. And lastly, kung halimbawa, yung obligation to withhold. I guess some of you were employees before or you are now employers na kinakaltas di ba yung certain amount of tax sa sweldo. So if you are, let's say, a social media influencer and you're already registered with the BIR, kung may mga empleyado ka, no, kailangan mo mag-deduct ng tax sa mga sweldo nila. Or if you have contractors, no, let's say mga layout artists, graphic artists, no, even actually mga personal assistants na hindi mo masasabing empleyado, you have to withhold tax pa rin on their income provided it's taxable income already. Pero pag sinabi natin taxable income kasi, because of the train law, no, in 2018, the first 250,000 ng income mo is exempt. So lahat ng kita mo, kapag hindi lang magpas ng 250,000, wala kang babayaran na tax, no? So it's the same thing also with your contractors. Kapag below 250 sila, they don't need to pay tax and you don't need to withhold kasi walang paggagamitan yung tax. Pero this is the most important thing to remember, no? I have discussed the basics, pero paano pag halimbawa hindi nakinig yung mga watchers, yung mga followers ninyo, no? Yung mga viewers ninyo.
May exam mamaya, tandaan nyo. Yun ang mangyayari.
Let's say social media influencer sila, no? What will happen is the BIR may file a criminal case against the taxpayer, no, for tax evasion. Pero ito yan, under section 254 of the tax code. Pero I'd like to tell you, meron tayong sinasabi dito upon conviction. When we say upon conviction, the BIR must first file the criminal case, and it will go through a legal process, no? And the burden is actually to prove that that individual, or let's say corporate entity, is whose officer committed fraud, for example, is guilty beyond reasonable doubt. So, lagi natin naririnig yan minsan sa mga teleserye, guilty beyond reasonable doubt. But it's really important kasi pag hindi napatunayan na guilty beyond reasonable doubt, wala tayong masasabi na criminal case that will make or that will imprison an individual, no? Kasi ang penalty is imprisonment most of the time. Aside from that, it's a fine, no? It's a fine not less than 500,000 but not more than 10 million pesos. So actually, pag sinabi natin criminal liability, imprisonment most of the time. Pero as I mentioned, there must be judicial process. Okay? And aside from that, if you fail to file any return, okay, or let's say provide information to the BIR, and even the withholding that I mentioned, meron ding penalty. Okay? But it is upon conviction. It's a fine of not less than 10,000 pesos, and suffer imprisonment of not less than 1 year but not more than 10 years. Ito yung criminal liability. Pero meron pa rin tayong tinatawag na civil liability. That is the payment of taxes. Okay? But,
Yes.
Attorney, you will ask me again. Ako na nagtanong, pero this is for the information of all. Paano makukuha ni BIR yung information ni nasa US naman si YouTube? Okay? O kaya si Google. So, actually, there is this what we call that the exchange of information, no, between countries. Pwedeng magtanong si BIR kay IRS sa US. O ito ba si Almond? Kumita ba yan sa US? And then nagbayad ba yan ng tax, no? Or let's say si BJG, meron bang kinita yan? So si Google or let's say YouTube, magdi-declare yan kay IRS. So gagawin naman ni BIR, tatanong si IRS, magkano yung tax na kinaltas or binayaran sa US. Titingnan ko lang din kung tama yung dineclare na dito sa Philippines, no? Kaya nga sabi niya gano'n, there will be exchange of information and the BIR may safely rely on the data provided by its treaty partners. So merong exchange of information. And it means that for social media influencers, the world is getting smaller and smaller, pero if you know the rules, you don't have to worry about the penalties. Okay? And that's why, under the rules, yung RMC, sabi ganon, social media influencers are advised to voluntarily, and truthfully declare their income and pay the taxes to avoid being liable for tax evasion. Kasi yun nga talaga yung iniiwasan natin. And tatanong niyo naman, attorney, kinaltas na sa abroad. Dito naman, anong gagawin ko? Well, actually, the government, the BIR recognizes yung avoidance of double taxation, which as I mentioned, may tax treaty. But in order to have, kasi pag sinabi nating tax treaty, may times may mas mababang rate, no, under tax treaty. Normally, halimbawa, ang tax rate sa US, let's say 24%. Pero under tax treaty, nag-usap si Philippines, not the BIR, but the Philippine government and US, na sige, if may mga residents kayo dyan na kumikita at meron kami residents na kumikita na parehong situation, we may give them preferential rate, a lower rate. Pero it must qualify under the tax treaty. And what you have to do, kung ikaw ay yung income recipient dito sa Philippines, para yung sa US, kasi normally 24% yon, pwedeng 15% lang ang i-deduct sa'yo. Provided you give your client, let's say YouTube or Google, proof of residency. That must be issued by the BIR. Kailangan meron kang proof. I guess some of you, we are all aware, no? Meron tayong masasabing recently may boxing event na nangyari, di ba?
Yeah.
So, alam niyo naman kung saan nangyari yun. So, possibly, definitely, there's an income generated abroad. So, yung mga promoters doon, bago nila bibigay yung amount, yung, let's say, yung price or yung money doon sa boxer, bawas na ng tax yun, no? Bawas na. Pero kung gusto niyang ma-claim yung mas mababang rate, no, pwedeng mag-avail siya ng tax treaty benefits kung meron. Pero ang kailangan niya is proof of residency. Okay? So same thing with social media influencers. So you must exert all efforts to obtain treaty benefits in the state of source. Otherwise, mas malaki yung tax na babayaran mo. Okay? So sabi nga dito, if you did not avail the treaty benefits, okay, you will be subject to the regular tax. So it means pwedeng mas mababa talaga yung tax na babayaran mo. Pwede nga 15% no? It's just that kailangan alam mo lang yung rules. Okay? And here, as I mentioned, yung income from YouTube, it will be treated as royalties, and what you have to do is to provide YouTube your tax information. Okay? Social media influencers residing in the Philippines are hereby advised to submit their tax information to Google to be eligible to claim treaty benefits under the tax treaty. Kailangan mo lang talaga mag-apply ng residency certificate from the BIR. Specifically, to tax residency certificate from the International Tax Affairs Division. Madali lang siya, na? Provided you are registered with the BIR. Okay? So it's issued by the BIR, and failure to prove the residency in the Philippines is fatal to the taxpayer claim for treaty benefits. And then, yun nga, magiging tax credit yung binawas nung, let's say, foreign country dun sa income mo, sa royalties. Pero I'll just show to you, okay, here, my material, kailangan i-prove mo, no? It came from abroad, and specific country, kailangan indicate mo din, and all other information necessary for verification and computation of such credits. I just don't know, I haven't seen yung sa akin, pero pag normally, di ba, may analytics na nangyayari. I mean, pinapakita kung magkano na yung revenues mo pag halimbawa from YouTube. I haven't seen because wala pa akong ganon. No? Yan, kailangan mo rin ipakita yan kay BIR to allow you in claiming tax treaty benefits. Pero this one, I would like to show you a computation lang, no? Yan. Let's say the gross income is yan. Let's say yung income halimbawa ni BJG is, or ni Captain Mike, no, for 2020 is 10 million. Captain Mike 10 million.
Ako na lang.
Ayan, sinok. Okay? 10 million. And then you claim all the necessary expenses such as, let's say, filming expenses, transportation. You claim it as 1 million. And then you arrive at taxable income of 9 million pesos. And you will ask, how much ba yung tax, no, for 9 million? Ang total tax would be, in this particular case, kasi graduated yan, ang pinakamataas na rate kasi is 35%, no? If your income is over 8 million pesos under the train law. So yung over 8 million, you'll pay actually here, the first 8 million is 2.4 million, and then the excess is 350. The total tax due is 2.7 million. Okay? 2,760,000. Pero sabi ko nga sa inyo, let's say, so that's 2.7. For a 10 million gross income, and then after deducting 1 million, you arrive at taxable income of 9 million. Sa 9 million, ang babayaran mong tax is 2.7. Okay? Kaya lang, di ba meron actually na tax credit before. Halimbawa, 15% ng 10 million ang diniduct ni YouTube. No? So makiklaim mo yun as tax credit, provided, take note, you presented to you is yung let's say tax residency certificate. Pero kung hindi ka nag-submit, hindi yun lang 1.5 ang ikakalta sa'yo or i-deduct. It would be higher, 24% nga, 2.4 million. Okay? So, pero actually, ganun pa din, yung difference will be paid by you. So, hindi yung 9 million, kinaltasan ka na abroad, tapos nagbayad ka na doon, tapos magbabayad ka pa ulit, no? So, it's like consolidated. And any other taxes paid abroad, whether from US or other countries, no? As social media influencer, makiklaim yan dito. Okay? So here, ang babayaran mo na lang is 1.2. Yes.
Sorry, I have a question. Actually, this is a question from one of our audience, Joshua. Joshua is here. He said, what happens in the event that the content creator's channel managed to be demonetized? Be it temporary or permanently? Is there a grace period or something?
Well, for tax purposes, it's regardless whether it's demonetized temporarily or permanently, the basis of the income would be the time that you earn that income, no? Kahit na halimbawa na demonetize yun, let's say after a month, pero nung binayaran ka, no? Syempre na-receive na yan ng bank account mo I mean, banko mo no? Natanggap mo na yan. So definitely it will be subject to tax from the time that you receive the income or from the time you earn the income. Okay? Magkaiba yun Yung from the time that you earned, that's what we call accrual, pero may times din upon receipt, so that's collection. So it depends on that. Pero kung halimbawa, na demonetize or ginawa mo is you deleted your YouTube channel.
Hoy, may kilala kaming ganyan.
Hoy!
Oh, di namin mabanggitin.
Jamil yan.
Wala ko sinasabi kung sino Wala ko sinasabi.
Ako yung nagsabi. Jamil yan.
Okay. Halimbawa, dinilit mo siya. Okay? Walang pakialam si BIR kung terminate mo yung YouTube channel mo. Kasi hihingin pa rin yung BIR yan sa abroad, let's say from Google. Magkano yung kinita nila? Okay? Kasi iba yung kinita mo na before na dapat binayaran mo yung tax, no? Iba rin yung terminate mo na at ayaw mo ng kumita coming from that channel.
Right.
Okay?
Kahit magbenta pa ng bahay mo, taxable pa rin yun.
Oo, actually, ito pa, no? Gusto ko rin sabihin sa inyo. Iba yung kinita mo sa, let's say, sa YouTube or sa Google, no? So yun, royalties ang tinatawag natin dun no? Na subject na sa tax abroad. Tapos, kailangan i-declare mo dito, yan, based on the slide that I presented to you. Pero kung halimbawa, what you did was to terminate your YouTube account and then you liquidated or you disposed the house, the vehicle. Okay?
Yan! Sabihin mo yung totoo, Tony! Galit na galit no?
Okay. That is subject to another tax.
Ooh.
Okay.
So basically they made it worse. They made it worse and it made it easier for BIR to collect from whoever did that. No? Whoever did that. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
Si Jamil.
Yeah. Okay. So that one, ibang transaction na kasi yun So si BIR kasi transaction-based, no? So kung ang transaction is income from those royalties, no? So that's one tax. Pero kung from that income, bumili ka ng property, so yung pagbili mo ng property, wala namang issue dyan no? Doon sa seller ang may issue dyan later on. Pero kung halimbawa na enjoy mo na yung property, pero sabi mo, teka, I want to transfer to a better location, no? Then binenta mo yung house and lot, tapos binenta mo yung vehicle, that's a different transaction subject to tax. So, kailangan lang din na i-evaluate mo ano yung magiging exposure mo. Lalong-lalo na if you are very very famous, no? Lalo na sa mga sa social media, you should know your obligation. Kasi you're not only being watched by your followers dito no sa G, but also you're being watched by the VIR. Okay, you're a public
I would even
person
go so far as
already.
to say that the BIR is probably our #1 viewer. They might get a top fan badge for all you know.
Malamang yan,
BIR,
Jamil.
shout out
Ikaw
sa
yun.
inyo BIR. Shout out sa inyo BIR.
Shout out, wash it out, BIR.
So Jamil,
Oh.
hindi porket nag-break kayo at nakipagbalikan para lang umabot yung views niyo at tapos umalis na kayo dahil sa tax, hahabol pa rin kayo.
Yes, that's true.
Wala akong
Actually,
sinasabing pangalan.
Sa ano sa context na to, attorney, no?
Yes.
It was so lumalabas na bad call pa pala tong ginawa na to, provided na it was not declared. Provided
Yeah.
kasi wala tayong proof eh.
Mm-mm.
Binenta nila yung properties and then they decided na i-liquidate na nila lahat yun. Hahabulin pa rin sila. Yun yung pinaka-unfortunate dito sa scenario na to, correct?
Yes. Oh,
Pero
yan
ang
yung
question, attorney, is sorry, ang tanong ko dyan is the law approved and rolling already?
Well, actually, that law is existing for a very long time.
Matagal na,
already,
sabi
no?
mo nga kanina, no?
It has
Matagal na.
been since
Yes.
individual
It's
contractors.
just that, parang actually, yung mga artists before, di ba? Let's be honest, no? Yung mga artists, sila yung naging target before, no? Yung mga nasa TV, sa movies. Pero, nag-iba ang environment in terms of entertainment. And we have already shifted to this kind of platform, social media platform na marami rin ang kumita na hindi lang yung mga artist sa TV, sa movies, no? Kaya yung mga artist na yan, actually, I would say, compliant na sila kasi they have already registered with the BIR even before. Kasi I would say, let's say, yung mga broadcasting companies like ABS, GMA, they will not allow their artists to earn income without registering with the BIR, no? Kaya nga actually, di ba, there is this issue regarding, let's say, sa ABS-CBN, hindi daw nagbayad ng taxes, wala. So, but it was proven na nagbabayad sila. Even yung mga artist nila, kinakaltasan nila ng tax. So, walang lusot, no? Kaya actually, itong isa sa mga pinakamalaking artista ngayon, kumikita sa YouTube, di ba? Si AG, di ba? Sabihin ko ba? Artista na before.
Sige lang, attorney.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
You are protected by the podcast law.
Oo. Sabihin natin si Alex Tut, no? Si Alex.
Okay.
Before.
Gets.
Kasi ano siya, kasi artista na siya before, no? Na hindi siya pwedeng kumita tapos walang ibabayad na tax kasi yung mga, let's say let's say ABS or let's say GMA or any other station, hindi siya hahayaan na kumita without giving to BIR yung tax na dapat niyang bayaran. Okay? And andyan kasi yung withholding tax mechanism. Pero yung mga bagong social media influencers or who may not be aware na kailangan pala nila mag-register, sila yung nape-penalize. Which in fact actually before pa existing na yung rules na yan. Kaya I don't think na ngayon yung mga artista na kumikita ng malaki sa YouTube or sa social media, wala silang reklamo kasi nagko-comply na sila.
Right.
Ngayon lang yung
automatic na sa kanila yan eh.
Right.
Automatic na. Okay?
Attorney, I want to go off on a tangent real quick. And yes, I do understand that this law has been in existence for as long as there have been self-employed people operating in the Philippines. Now, here's something absolutely new. Axie. All right. And this is for people who are listening or also playing Axie and some online gaming apps like say Tong It's Go that would allow a person to earn.
And yung online sabong. Don't forget online sabong.
Yes.
It's the biggest thing, ha?
Yun nga actually. Yun nga actually.
Online casinos.
Opposite ng Axie. All right. So let me just itemize them for you. You have Axie, which is currently the hottest topic right now. But there are other apps out there that are available for people to earn a little bit of money, like Tong It's Go, the casino games, and of course everybody's favorite talpakan, online sabong. In fact, I have personal experience of seeing people earning money from that even within working hours. Nahuli ko po to sa opisina namin dati. Monte kong kaltukan babae lang Pero anyway.
Dati ba or kasi
dati. Anyway, I invoke my right to self-incrimination in front of the attorney. So these apps are out there, and let's face it, it's true that people have earned money from playing these games, and a lot of money, in fact, for Axie recently and online sabong. Although Axie is really geared towards more mainstream coverage, whereas online sabong is like the unspoken kind of game. And then Tong It's Go and the casino games are in between. How does that work with the taxation right now, and what does the law have to say about that? What are the penalties, and what will be the future of these apps and games as far as BIR is concerned?
Okay. Simple lang naman actually sagot ni BIR dyan Even before meron na, may sagot na. All income from all sources, whether from legal or illegal sources, should be subjected to taxation. So even yung mga online sabong, Axie, I haven't actually seen yung Axie, I haven't tried mga online sabong, even yung simple na Caracruz. It's from illegal, even if it's from illegal source, it
Almond, Caracruz daw, laro mo yan.
Pati color game, Mon. Pati color game. May online color game, ha?
Oh.
Yeah. So, yung even mga online, let's say, gambling na yan, from all sources, whether legal or illegal, it will be subject to tax. Mm-hmm. So, halimbawa, ikaw, kumita ka sa isang, how would I say, sa isang kontrata, sa isang agency. I don't know if it's government or private agency. May kinita ka doon. I don't know kung legit or illegitimate yung source. Okay? It will be taxable. No?
Si Alman, alam ko yung pangalan ng agency na nasa isip mo.
The rule is very
St.
basic.
St. Mark's yung sa akin. St. Mark's. Dahil kisakay lang ako sa mga patay, doon lang ako nagpapasakla, papusoy, Caracruz, para walang para swabe na yun.
Pero may binabayaran ka pa rin, hindi tax ang tawag, tong.
So yun. So actually yun ang tanong ni BJG, it will be subject to tax also. O hindi mo kailangan ng bagong law kasi nandun na kagad sa batas yun. All sources of income will be taxable. Unless, take note, unless exempted by law. Yeah.
Particularly for the train law, no? So if you're not earning this much above, then you don't have to do it, right? You don't have to earn anything.
Yeah.
Kaya pala maliit lang yung kinita ko last cut-off. Ito yung saktong equation nun Galing. Pumasok.
Pero ako naman, attorney, if I may, for those who are starting, dahil in-implement na to, they definitely have mag-hesitate sila ngayon na mag-start. Which is the purpose of this podcast na sasabihin natin na huwag kayong matakot. Kasi ako, personal experience, I'm currently unemployed. And I'm now starting my YouTube channel. Sorry sa shameless plug.
Okay lang, i-edit naman natin out yan Edit out yun.
Hindi. So, ako ngayon na unemployed, I started a YouTube channel. Ano ngayon ang steps ko, easy steps to go to the BIR? Kasi gusto ko siyang i-declare, gusto ko siyang yan di ba? So for beginners, what would be your recommendation?
Okay. Actually, regarding that one, it's similar even to online sellers, no? You go to the BIR, no? You go to the BIR, accomplish the necessary application form, and then you have to, once you pay actually ang registration kay BIR kasi as self-employed, you pay 500 pesos, no? On a yearly basis, you pay registration fee. Pero this is for the BIR. may times kasi we have to consider also you're covered by the local government rules. May mayor's permit, tapos registration then with SEC or DTI. Depende kung corporation ka or partnership, SEC. Pag sole, DTI. Pero for BIR, once you pay the 500 pesos, you register your books of accounts, no? Doon mo kasi i-reflect lahat ng transactions. And then, from the time that you earn revenues from social media, from YouTube, you declare it, no? You declare it and pay the corresponding tax. Kasi that's the only way that you'll have peace of mind, no? Na you're generating or you're earning a lot of income, pero once you have paid the correct amount of tax, you'll have peace of mind. Unlike kung halimbawa you already enjoyed your income without paying tax, pero yun nga, later on, babalik at baka mas malaki pa yung babayaran mong tax. And if you will try to look at businesses, definitely, those successful businesses are the ones really paying the correct amount of taxes, and I would say would really last, no? Unlike yung mga fly-by-night, yan ang medyo we will not say na talagang magsusurvive unless you're really legit, you're paying the correct amount of tax.
So, is there a need pa ba to ano? Sorry. Is there a need pa ba, attorney, for i-apply mo yung name mo for DTI or pwede nang just the BIR just for the purpose of accepting or just for the purpose of revenues?
Okay, actually, since I mentioned earlier, you are engaged in business, no? You must initially register with DTI kasi yun yung unang-una talagang step. From DTI, you can go to the local government kung saan yung location ng business mo, or let's say your residence, no, kung doon ka online business. And then simultaneously apply with the BIR already. Pero ang pinaka first step, you apply with DTI and then pwede mo nang pagsabayan BIR and local government.
Okay. I just want to clarify something. So this is how things are going to be taxed. These are the numbers and the figures that they need to be aware of. We all know that there is a law that encompasses everything that's currently happening now, new or otherwise. So we get to a point. What do we need to do next? What are the steps that say for a newcomer? Obviously, hindi ko pa kailangang mag-file ng BIR or anything kasi magsisimula pa lang ako right? You know, I'm just going to get started with my thing. I'm just gonna vlog. Now, for medium-sized and you know, content creators who are already there, who are already earning, what do we need to do? How do we file it so that we don't get into trouble? But at the same time, paano naman yung steps to prepare for the documentation of those who are Axie trading? Because as you may or may not already know, attorney, Axie is generating a huge amount of money, and that a lot of people are earning like 100, if not double, if not 5 digits, even 6. Okay, so anong kailangan gawin nila? Lalo na yung may mga pa-scholar pa, yung may mga sinasponsoran sila. In terms of filing it. But before you answer that, merong question na naman tayo dito let me just read one of that. So where do community-led organizations and contests fall? And what's the difference between that and sponsored contests? Let's go with that question first from our audience. That's Joshua. Shout out to you, brother.
Okay. Community-led organized contest. Okay. Well, this one, when we talk about contest, no, we can say that, pag sinabi natin contest, syempre may prize, di ba?
Yes po.
So, yung prize na yan, it will be taxable also. Kaya lang, it may fall under those income na masasabi nating subject to final tax. So, may classification din kasi yan. Pag yung mga prices na yan, normally, subject na sa final tax. Yung nagpapapremyo, yun ang magdededuct, no, ng tax, and then they will remit that to the BIR. So the income recipient will no longer declare that income because meron tayong tinatawag kasing final tax no? Final tax. So even for example, nanalo ka halimbawa sa ah, sa isang raffle, no? Normally, halimbawa, nagpa-raffle yung isang company, tapos, di ba minsan may na-accomplish tayong raffle ticket, no? Yung promoters na yon, kapag binigay sa yon, may times i-deduct na nila yung normally 20%, no? Tapos, i-remit na yun sa BIR. Ito is tinatawag naman nating final tax. Unlike yung sa royalties, for example, that's creditable. Pag sinabi nating final tax, full settlement of liability. So yung mga contest-led contest, may mga prizes, final tax na yan. Pero yung sa, let's say, creditable, it means hindi pa
community-led organized.
Okay? So,
Yeah.
contest. May mga contest, no? So, final tax. Pero yung dun sa creditable naman, it means that there is just an estimate na tax na dinidak or kinalta sa'yo, which you have to pay pa yung balance, like what I have shown to you right now, nasa screen. This one, yung foreign tax credit, kaya sinabi tax credit, it's creditable, na pwede mong i-apply yan dun sa tax liability mo. Kasi hindi pa full amount ng tax ang dinidak sa'yo. Unlike halimbawa, when say final tax, a good example of this, di ba, all of us have bank accounts. Tapos it earns interest. That interest, definitely yung bank, magdideduct yan ng 20% eh. So, pag kinaltas na yan or diniduct na yan, on the part of the income recipient or let's say the depositor, hindi niya na kailangan i-declare yan kay BIR. Kasi dineduct na ng bangko, diretso, no? Niremit na rin or forward na kay BIR yung full amount. Kasi ang classification ng interest na yan is subject to final tax. Pero ito, yung community-led organized contest fall, may times final tax dapat ang i-deduct dyan at i-remit. Okay?
Okay. So to get this correctly, whether it's a sponsored contest or community-driven contest, like an online tournament first per se, tapos merong mga nagbibigay ng presyo, ng paparemyo sa mga players, that is still subject to tax up until the prize pool reaches a certain limit. But if it's below that, then it's fine. Am I correct?
Yes, actually, meron tayong tinatawag din na threshold, no? Na, let's say yung first 10,000, 10,000 and below yung price mo, hindi yan isa-subject sa final tax. It will be subject to the regular income tax. Pero kung halimbawang yung let's say it's over 10,000, then isa-subject siya sa final tax. So may mga threshold din tayong kino-consider actually.
I see.
May threshold. Hindi siya absolute. That's why there are times we might consider yung rules na ito, naka-fix na tong rules na yun. Hindi pa. That's why every now and then we try to update with the BIR rules. Kasi yun ang nagiging problem natin eh. Medyo relax na tayo pero actually si BIR every now and then nagbabago ng rules. Or nire-revise niya yung rules. Kaya nga actually nagkaroon ng train law. Before kasi we have the highest income tax rates eh. Dito sa ASEAN region, we are paying a lot of higher tax rates than other countries. That's why they revised it. So it's the same thing with others, no? We have to know the rules. So hindi absolute talaga yan.
Okay. I just want to read some more questions here. We have a lot of comments. Thank you for those people who are commenting. Starting with Joey, he said, only a government-issued ID lang ang requirement unless may trade name kayo. Is that correct?
Yes, actually actually that one, it's a general rule na in terms of, let's say, yung mga professionals, no, you don't need to get a mayor's permit. Pag halimbawa professional ka, you only pay professional tax, PTR, a professional tax receipt. But there are certain businesses also na kailangan mo talagang magbayad rin ng local government tax, no? So we have to consider na we are also under the jurisdiction of the local government. Kasi when you say The intention of having business tax definitely with paying business tax to the local government is not only for us to pay them, but for the government, let's say the local government, to protect us. So may mga services din silang pinoprovide sa atin, kaya tayo nagbabayad din sa kanila.
Right, right. There's an interesting comment here from Venus Montes. And hello, Venus. Hi. And I want to read it out loud. Unfair, nagbabayad ng tax pero wala naman napapala sa gobyerno. Babayad ka ng 500 pesos pero wala ka na earn. Di ba unfair yan? Followed up with, I think, and here's the point. And I think this one is the point here. Buti kung bumalik, what if hindi? Yung naging content creator na hindi nagsusurvive, hindi naman fair, magbayad ng yearly fee na 500k BIR. That's a very valid point, I would say.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on it?
Okay. I do agree, no, na pero may times na gano'n na hindi, una-una is, nakikita nyo ba kung saan napupunta yung taxes? Well, it depends on how updated you are sa news natin. Kung halimbawa, if you find it effective yung vaccination program ng government natin or in battling COVID-19, we can say na doon napupunta yung tax natin. Pero kung mayroon kayong mga ibang comments on how it was utilized, depende na lang on how you got the source. Pero yung comment regarding the 500 pesos, okay, paid on a yearly basis, well, tax actually, definitely just with paying business tax to the local government is okay.
Sorry,
it's all right. Yung payment of 500 pesos, it's like it's an initial amount that you pay to the BIR, no, as registration. Pero, di ba, for every business there is risk. The reason why you entered into business is for you to generate revenues, to earn profit, but it's not a 100% success. There's still risk. You invest, and part of your investment is to register with the government. Pay the registration fee to the BIR so that it would be a legitimate business. Kasi if, let's say, the BIR discovers that you did not pay or you did not register with the BIR, no, regarding your business, not only social media influencer, let's say even for small businesses, if you did not register with the BIR, alam nyo ba na kung halimbawa nasa Manila ka, no, sa metropolis, ang penalty ni BIR is minimum 20,000, okay, for non-registration. So you compare 500 versus 20,000, you will be compelled to register, no? Rather than paying 20,000, dilugi ka na kagad, eh. hindi ka pa nag-i-start.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true, no? And thank you for the questions, guys. We really appreciate the questions that you're throwing in. It's really important that we understand how these work, particularly in this day and age, no? And I guess I speak in behalf of a lot of the Filipinos out there that are trying to make some earning, during this time of the pandemic. Maraming ganyan eh. Maraming tao na, particularly for those people who play Tong It's Go, people who play Axie. And that's true. Axie was such a prominent part of a province somewhere in Mindoro that a small barangay started playing it, and that got them through the pandemic, at least that small barangay. There's actually a YouTube video that covers that, as covered by CNN, I believe. It's on YouTube. You can look it up. And again, this is not, sabi nga ni Captain Mike kanina, this is not so that we can turn off new and aspiring content creators. It still falls under the concept and the precept of what is your passion? Is this what you want to do? Like what we're doing right now is exactly what we want to do. We love doing this. We have the great opportunity to talk to Attorney right now. But as long as you know what you need to do, as long as you know what you should do, rather, kasi yung need, depende yan sa season eh, no? My need is dependent on the situation and vice versa. Pero what is lawful for you to do, and yung kumbaga lalaban ka ng parehas. Hindi yung manlalamang ka in one way or another just so they can make a little bit more off of everybody's earnings and all that. Nako, napakarami pa natin pwedeng pag-usapan. Napakarami natin pwedeng tanongin. I'll just give you one example of what I want to know. So, who is going to get taxed? Who will have the burden of taxation? The players or the sponsors of these online games like Online Sabong and Axie? Because we already kind of understand how the content creator works, right? So when it comes to Axie, Online Sabong, Tong It's Go, the casino games, where does the burden of taxation really fall heaviest? Is it going to be on the players or those people who organize these events that provide prizes and monetary rewards and whatnot?
Okay. Well, actually, as a general rule, no, kung mga prizes like mga games of chance, there as much as possible it should be subject to withholding tax already. No, we just have to identify whether that is final tax or creditable. Pero normally, that is subject to final tax na 20%. Like if you'll go to a casino, I'm not promoting, no, pero if you'll go to a registered online casino and then sanctioned, let's say, or monitored by PAGCOR, once you receive let's say your price, it's net of tax already, and you don't need to declare that for income tax purposes. So I would say, though I haven't seen yung Axino, I haven't tried, and also other games of chance, pero as much as possible, it should be the organizer who should subject that to tax. Pero kung halimbawa ang classification mo dyan is, let's say, okay, it came from an illegal source, no, you have to, on your own, you have to declare it, okay, and pay the corresponding tax. Pero we just have to mention na kung halimbawa si BIR, I would believe that it would be on the organizer or the sponsor who should subject that to tax.
I see.
Kap, ibig sabihin, bitawan mo na yung mga illegal sources mo, ha? Kung hindi, abuli ka ng BIR.
Kapitan, kaya pala kapitan ng wedding.
Oo, kapitan ng kotong yun. Kaya kapitan eh.
Attorney, I have a lot of good questions. There are a lot of questions that have been sent over here from our viewers. I want to start off. This one goes back to us, no? Joshua Clark says, is it normal taxation if you're hired by a company focused on content creators? We actually have a couple of those existing in the Philippines. Who gets taxed? Do you still do it, or is it the company's job?
Okay. Actually, that one you mentioned, you were hired by a company. Pero what kind of relationship you have with that company? If there's an employer-employee relationship, then it's purely compensation. Pero if you were hired by a company as a professional or a service provider, then it's considered as self-employed. You're engaged by the company as a contractor, and as contractor,
individual contractor.
Yeah, individual contractor, you should pay the corresponding tax. Pero we just have to mention na kung halimbawa si BIR, I would believe that it would be on the organizer or the sponsor who should subject that to tax.
I see.
Kap, ibig sabihin, bitawan mo na yung mga illegal sources mo, ha? Kung hindi, abuli ka ng BIR.
Kapitan, kaya pala kapitan ng wedding.
Oo, kapitan ng kotong yun. Kaya kapitan eh.
Attorney, I have a lot of good questions. There are a lot of questions that have been sent over here from our viewers. I want to start off. This one goes back to us, no? Joshua Clark says, is it normal taxation if you're hired by a company focused on content creators? We actually have a couple of those existing in the Philippines. Who gets taxed? Do you still do it, or is it the company's job?
Okay. Actually, that one you mentioned, you were hired by a company. Pero what kind of relationship you have with that company? If there's an employer-employee relationship, then it's purely compensation. Pero if you were hired by a company as a professional or a service provider, then it's considered as self-employed. You're engaged by the company as a contractor, and as contractor,
individual contractor.
Yeah, individual contractor, you should pay the corresponding tax. So just visualize, no, yung mga artists, they are ito just to give you some idea, yung mga artists ng mga broadcasting companies like ABS, for example, GMA, they are not employees most of the time. They are contractors. So they pay their income tax,
Project-based.
they pay their business tax. So it's the same thing also with content providers na hire as contractor. Okay? They are self-employed.
Correct. Thank you. Kasi ganyan eh. Normally meron dyan, i-hire ka namin a content creator and then you have to reach a certain metric or have to some certain, targets. If you do, you'll get 5,000 pesos. If you don't, wala. Parang ganon eh, right?
I can name a few actually if you want me to.
I can name one now.
I actually can name one now and ask him kung may nakuha siyang 5,000.
Anyway, there's another question coming in, attorney. Venus says, pero if content creator is not earning, wala siya tax, di ba? That's a clarification.
Yeah,
so
actually, Yes, BJG. Just to clarify, yung 500 is just registration. Pero registration fee. Pero if there's already income, definitely you have to pay the corresponding tax. So initial payment mo on a yearly basis yung 500, pero yung income tax mo, kasi dalawang taxes yan, income tax and business tax. Yung income tax, you only pay if there is net income. So when you say net income, after deducting all the expenses, nagkaroon ka pa rin ng net income or may surplus ka pa, that's the time it will be taxable, no? Pero kung loss ka naman, of course, the BIR considers na, sige, sayang yung effort mo kung magbabayad ka pa ng tax, wag ka na, exempt ka muna.
Right. That question has been followed up with two things. One, pero di ba, from Venus also, pero di ba may tax bracket naman yan? And what about those who are not receiving monetary compensation? Like X deals and all that. Paano siya matatax?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, bracket yan. So, it ranges, pag individual, it ranges from 20% to 35% based on the net income or net taxable income. So, after deducting all the expenses, let's say 300,000 yung nakuha mo for the entire year, pero meron kang expenses, no? Let's say travel expenses na 50,000. So, 250 na lang yan, no? Yung first 250 is exempt. So you don't have to pay. Pero as your income increases, tax definitely would increase also. So those who are earning more would be paying more. Okay? And those who are earning less will be paying less or would be exempt. So yan yung natin, yan yung equality in terms of taxation dito sa Philippines.
I see. There are still a few. Sabi ni Ian, shout out to Ian Trinidad. As of now, brackets rin yan, depende sa income. Yung 500 yearly registration lang po sa BIR. Rafi's here. Hey Rafi, he said, for example, a content creator is under an agency who is going to process the taxes. That's already answered. It's going to depend. If you're an employee, then they will. If you're not, if you're an individual contractor, then it's you. His original question was, Rafi asked, is there a computation on how the content creator is paying their taxes, or is that just 500 per year? I assume that this is when the content creator isn't earning anything.
Okay. So, doon actually sa computation sa content creator, as mentioned earlier, graduated yan after deducting all the expenses, no? Yung 500, it's a fixed amount regardless whether you earn. Actually, binabayaran mo yung registration fee on a yearly basis. First 500 month of the year. Okay, 500, January yan. So, parang for you to start your business for that particular year. Pero yung tax naman na babayaran for that year would really depend on the revenues generated on a regular basis. Monthly yan. Madidetermine mo, pero you pay the corresponding tax at times could be monthly, quarterly, okay, based on the revenues.
I see. Wow, medyo very all-encompassing talaga. And I really appreciate this because these questions wouldn't have been answered if it weren't for attorney. And that's the whole purpose, guys. Again, to echo what Captain Mike said, it's not to discourage you from starting. It's for to encourage you to start with the right foot. That's how you know what to do. That's what you have to do. And it's not limiting. It's actually it's liberating more than anything else, because now sabi nga ni Ravenize kanina, ni Kagawad, dito makakakilanlan kung sino yung legit sa hindi. Yung talagang siseryosohin yun. See this as work and not just, a way to earn a quick buck at the same time para sumikat. Now, I want to throw then the opportunity to you guys. Now, Noch, Captain Mike, Kagawad, do you guys have any questions before we wrap this up and take this home for Attorney? Let's start off with Captain Mike. Captain Mike, your last questions or last thoughts for the evening that you want to ask Attorney?
Ako, last thoughts na lang na it's for as long as you're educated with the right information, you'll never go astray. Kaya don't hesitate to ask your friendly lawyers, people from the BIR, those who know what they're doing with regards to the tax, and they definitely be assisting you. Again, going back to the topic of this podcast, kailangan nating ma-educate dito para hindi tayo natatakot. Also, thank you, Attorney, for the privilege of your time. Malaking bagay po ito sa amin at sa mga viewers na nandito ngayon.
Excellent. Thank you, Captain. Noch, what are your thoughts? Some questions that are left, or do you want to?
Actually, I have no questions kasi naibigay naman ni Attorney lahat ng information.
Yes.
It's actually a good interview and a good podcast. Kasi ibigay mo sa amin lahat ng kailangan namin malaman as content creators, no? And of course, dovetailing on what Mike said, again, this is not to stop you from going into content creating, but it's really enlightening you kung ano yung mga possible things that you're going to have to face when you start being the content creator you should be, when you have big names already, but if you're earning a lot with sponsors and all that, no? Kasi ayan, kailangan kasi yan eh. I mean, alam naman natin mga Pinoy, as much as possible, kung may malulusutan, makakalusot yan. Malit nga na butas, lulusutan pa eh. Why not a big one, diba? Pero, again, if you do that, bakit? Why? Para lang maiwasan mong magbayad. It doesn't work that way. It has to all be legal. We have to follow all the rules possible. Kasi hindi we talk about success and yung pag-asenso ng Pilipinas and gobyerno natin. Pero tayo rin naman yung mismong nag-stop dun eh. We're the blockage for that success. So, wag kayo matakot because detong tax na to, sabi nga ni Atty. Is matagal na meron to. Yun nga lang, nagkaroon na ng ilaw, nagkaroon na ng spotlight for the content creators, for the online content creators, because the platform is changing, everything is changing right now. Kaya ayun, like what Mike said, Atty., maraming salamat because you have enlightened all of us. And I hope through this session, and of course this is being recorded, as we share this to our own YouTube channel, we hope also that we can encourage everyone to start paying their taxes, lalo na pag malaking kinikita, or start content creating despite the changes in the environment.
Awesome. Well said, Noch. Thank you very much. Kagawad Ravenize, what's up, man? Questions, last thoughts for the evening.
Actually, ang tanong ko, attorney, ano bang brand ng natin, ng alak natin or paborito natin pagkain? Yun ang gusto ko malaman na actually.
Ako ba? Hindi mo tinatanong? Ako ba tatanungin mo?
Hindi, si attorney parang he looks like the whiskey type of guy eh. Para sa akin eh.
Whiskey, scotch, di ba liquor ban ngayon, Kagawad?
Oo nga eh.
May liquor man, pero we can easily adapt naman.
Sa Caloocan daw, hindi daw liquor ban. Caloocan ka ba, attorney? Bibilang kita doon. Malapit lang ako.
Hindi, kita na lang tayo doon, tapos bibigay na lang, tapos takbo na tayo.
Exactly.
And guys, that is not payment for services rendered of appearing in our podcast. This is a gift way below 250,000 for the
Yes, of course. Siyempre.
I know law. You know, we're safe.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Scotch, whiskey, bourbon, sir. What's your thing?
Beer o
Baka
ano.
coffee drinker
Kaya
lang ata si attorney.
But do you drink,
Kaya
attorney?
bahala. I don't want to advertise naman.
Attorney, pagpapasensya mo na kasi kami ni Kagawad, pagka ang usapan dyan, lalo na pag may huhulihin, ano, yun ang unang tanong.
Oo.
Ano, huli o red doors?
Okay.
Ano?
Kaya ayoko mag-advertise kasi baka may mga may mga limitations regarding
Wala, bakit naman? Gusto mo?
Wala.
I think, alam mo, attorney, yung pinaka-limitation lang namin is hindi kami makakapunta dyan sa inyo para mag-inuman tayo. That's the only limitation.
That's the only limitation.
And for with all due respect, Your Honor, it would be beneficial if you actually mention. In fact, it won't be a limitation. It might be beneficial. Malay mo, makinig sila sa iyo. Tapos sponsoran ka.
Si Kagawad ang bahala sa inyo. Si Kagawad ang bahala sa inyo. Kagawad yung bahala sa attorney, no?
Mo, nandiyan naman si Kapitan eh. Nandiyan si Kapitan.
Kokotongan na lahat ng mga tao dyan sa Kapitan Kotong.
Yan. But yeah, so unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have just run out of time. We've actually gone over than what we've initially intended this show to do. But again, thank you very much, attorney, for gracing us and being able to spend some time with us. And for those people who've watched and stayed until the very end, please watch out for the actual release. Sorry, Cap. Yeah.
Yung YouTube page ni attorney, di ba?
Yeah. So please, what's the YouTube page again? It's AA. You said.
So my YouTube account is actually AAA and Company CPAs. So maybe you just look for Arnold Abdua sa YouTube or sa Facebook account, and you will see yung mga videos ko regarding taxation.
Okay, we saw it. It's already posted in the pinned comment on this on the chat on where to look for.
Ingat lang, attorney, baka maumabot ng 100k followers kagad yan. Bukas.
Hopefully, no?
Tapos, total, abogado ka rin lang naman, mag-file ka na ng tax mo.
Mag-file ka na rin ng tax mo, attorney. Kasi pag umabot ka ng 100, mabayaran ka na YouTube eh. So, make sure lang follow that draw.
I mean, we don't want...
yung attorney.
Pero guys, take note. AAA and Company CPAs already has 860 subscribers. Saan ka? Konti na lang.
Ad revenue na yan, Kap.
Wala.
Piso-piso.
Ad revenue na yan. But yeah, so guys, head on over to facebook.com, youtube.com, and look for AAA and Company CPAs. Look for or just type in Arnold Abdua, and then you will get access to his videos. If you guys have any questions, please visit that. You have a Facebook page as well, attorney? Is it the same?
Actually, it's the same. AA and Company CPAs.
Okay, you got it. So check it out. Message for any services, and of course, don't worry, he will file his taxes pag inabot ng 1M followers siya. I mean, kung hindi pa man din yan, ewan ko na lang kung ano pa legitimacy na ginagawa natin.
ako na mismo magsasabi ka ito, attorney, bayaran mo na yung tax mo.
But anyway, thank you very much for everybody who stayed and tuned in. Just head on over to our YouTube channel. We will show you something in the future. We'll invite you. This will be part of an even bigger show. If kung hindi mo natatanong, attorney, G3 podcast is going through and has been going through a transition of metamorphosis. Yan, hashtag usapan sa GC. And we're coming up with bigger, better, grander shows for everybody. And you are actually part of the first few steps of this metamorphosis with a good ending. Alam ni Ravenize yung good ending ng metamorphosis. But anyway, thank you. Then again, this has been your host BJG along with attorney Arnold Abdua. Joining me this special stream would be, of course, Kagawad Ravenize, Almond, Captain Mike, and Noch. If you have any questions on BIR, You should just watch this and rewatch this. And if for content creators out there, now you know. Alam nyo na ngayon. Ladies and
Now
gentlemen,
you
this
know.
has been a special live stream of the G3 podcast. Watch out as we relaunch this month. Have a great evening, guys. Thank you. And we'll catch you again next time. Bye-bye!
Gamit pa yung
Bye.
taxes! Ipahabol pa.